Hey guys, welcome back to another video over here on the Chinese Zodiac and horoscopes. Today we're going to be doing a reading for you guys born in the year of the horse. So welcome back all my horsey friends. You're probably asking yourself, where have I been? What have I been doing? Why have the videos stopped and why have the readings not been weekly as they always have been? Well, I will tell you, my lovely pony pals. I have decided that instead of doing the big spread on Patreon where I do 9 cards for a select few people, I am going to do a 9 card spread for people publicly on YouTube so that they can enjoy it for free. This means that I will obviously need more time to do each reading, and because of the busy schedule that I have, my plan is now to spread those readings out in a monthly fashion rather than a weekly one. And because of my busy schedule, I have fallen behind already. However, I'm hoping to catch up in the next few days and then spread them out over June. So this is going to be your kind of reading now for June. It's going to work out where, if I can get it right, the horse reading will probably end up being somewhere near the 20th-ish of June. And we're going to go from there. So instead of it being monthly like at the first of the month, it will be a bit like the weekly readings where it will just be a week from that day. So we're going to go from a month from this day, give or take kind of thing. It's going to be really, really confusing at first because I'm getting used to it and then everybody else has to get used to it. And I've done up to the snake already. It's very time consuming. This video will obviously take longer than the next video because I'm explaining it. And that's why it's going to be a little bit longer than, you know, the next ones. I'm estimating the next videos will be like 15 minutes, but I have to do it 12 times. And this is where it's starting to become more time consuming, and I really want to pursue this. I really want to explore more with this, and that's why I've decided to do the 9 card spread for everybody rather than keeping it, you know, shut away and not everybody can enjoy it or get something from it, because it's really good to hear from people all the time. You know, people message me, comment, or I see them and they say like, how is it so spot on? How is it, you know, getting it like this? I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works. It just does. So I'm not giving it up, despite it being, you know, something that is just really a hobby. I'm not going to give it up. It's going to be something that I will continue doing. It's just this way I get to do the 9 card spread, which will be 3 for a general reading, 3 for romance and love, and 3 for career and money. I get to do all of that. I get to give it to you for free, and it takes the pressure off because I can spread it over the course of a month rather than a week. I still, however, have the Patreon, which is in the link below, so you can follow that, and if you want to, you can support me through that, but you won't actually get anything for that. Everything will still be available for free. But if you're feeling generous, if you're feeling like you'd like to support the channel or my pursuit in designing and getting my own cards made, then please do show that support by hitting the Patreon link and signing up to that. At the very least, hit subscribe, because I don't know when the next horse video will actually be or what day it will fall on. So that you don't miss out, you can hit that subscribe button and then it will let you know. But as I've said to the other signs that I've previously done, if you do have friends or relatives or loved ones, or, you know, somebody that's around you and you know their Chinese Zodiac, try to maybe consider them when you go about your everyday stuff as well. It might be worth finding out why your horse friend, not your horses, well, you might have horse friends, but it might be worth finding out why your, I don't know, pig friend is feeling the way they are, or why that snake you work with is being the way they're doing, or doing what they're doing. So in theory, you could watch those videos on their readings and, you know, it might give you some insight on that. Just a suggestion. Anyway, let's get on and do this and get these cards done. So it's going to be the same principle as always. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to shuffle them up. We're going to move them all around. We're going to stop when it feels just about right. And then we're going to pick 3 out, which will be for your general reading. Very similar to the ones that we did every single week. So we're just going to shuffle these around. And we're going to stop about there. And we're going to take that one from the bottom. We're going to take that one from the middle. We're going to take that one from the top. What have we got? 2 positives and a negative. As always, white isn't always all right, black isn't always an attack. It all depends on the compatibility, because we are very unique in that sense. It's very individualistic because we are going for compatibilities with these cards. So that's what we'll be looking at in all 3 readings. We're then going to shuffle them up again. We're going to move them around, but this time we're going to set the intention for romance and love and that aspect of your life. We're going to single it out. We're going to see if there are any messages or anything that you can resonate with the next reading when it comes to relationships. And I've been trying to keep it so that even if you're not in a relationship, it could still be relevant. So say that I'm new to this way of doing things as well. I'm still getting there, but we'll see how it goes, won't we? Let's start about there. And we're going to take that one from the bottom. We're going to take that one from the middle. We're going to take that one from the top. What have we got? Okay, so we've got 3 negatives for romance and the love life. We've seen a bit of a picture here. Do we know why this is? Let's find out. We will find out as we move forward. But before then, we're going to shuffle them one more time. And we're going to pick 3 more. But this time, it's going to be about career, finance, money. We're going to find out how things are going in the kind of job aspect of things. That career, that livelihood, what brings home the bacon. Let's see. Or the broccoli, if you're not into eating meat. Let's try and keep it fair and equal. Let's stop about there. And we're going to take that one from the bottom. We're going to take that one from the middle. We're going to take that one from the top. What have we got? Okay, so we've got 3 positives. Again, this looks very negative. This looks very positive with these 3 blacks and these 3 whites, but it's all the same principle. Black isn't always all right, and white isn't always all right. We're going to look at the compatibility of those cards when we flip them over. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these 3. We're going to move them down. We're going to take these 3. We're going to move them down. And then we're going to take these 3 and we're going to put them in the center. And then we're going to flip them over and we're going to see what we've got that are compatible. And this is a great example of white being all right, because that's the tiger. And the tiger and the horse, they go together incredibly well. So generally, things are looking up. Things are looking good. You're moving forward. You're excelling. You've got your lines of communication are open. Though you are emotionally involved in this and you are in the pursuit of something, I just don't think you know what that pursuit is. It's almost like you feel like you need some adventure, or you feel like there is something missing, or you feel like you need something to keep you busy. Sitting around doing nothing is not going to work very well for a horse person. So being idle is not going to serve you well. That's why I think you've got this urge to be adventurous, spontaneous. You've got this urge to just go out there and explore or create something to do or to entertain yourself, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I think this is something that is it's something that you depend on. It's something that you are addicted to. Maybe not even addicted to, you're accustomed to. You're accustomed to having something to do, being busy, or, you know, making plans to actually move forward. Horses love to move forward. You don't like sitting still for too long. And this tiger here is protective over that instinct. It's protective over being who you are, being who you're supposed to be. Being cooped up is not a good start. You know, when you feel like you've been idle for a while, you're going to start to feel unappreciated. You're going to feel like your strengths aren't being utilized. You're going to start feeling as if you're, I suppose in some ways, useless rather than useful. And horses can be incredibly useful. They can be incredibly useful in the right circumstances. Sitting around doing nothing, this is not the right circumstances. And I think this tiger is trying to protect you from that. We've got this negative card coming in. Yeah, it's trying to protect you from that, mainly because it doesn't want you to stop. There's that negative horse in the black. Not necessarily a bad card for a horse person. 2 horses can get on relatively well. But what we're seeing is not moving forward, and that's what we need to avoid. We need to avoid that. So being more outgoing, being active, getting things done, you're going to achieve more, or at least you're going to feel like you've had that sense of achievement. You work at a certain speed, and even when you're going, you know, slow for you, that's fast for other people. So even when people are trying to catch up with you and going their fastest, you can sometimes see this as slow. So the slow progress is an issue, and you're going to have to try and fill that time. Otherwise, you're going to start to get agitated. You're going to start to get frustrated. You know, if you're watching this on behalf of a horse, say you've got a horse partner or a horse friend, or you work with a horse and you're wondering why they're getting so frustrated and agitated, it could simply be because they've not got enough stimulation. They've not got a lot of stuff to fill their time, and they're twiddling their thumbs, and this will not do for a horse person. Horses aren't part of that doer triangle, so they're not reliant on having something to do, but they do like to be busy, and it doesn't necessarily have to be work orientated. It could be, you know, just going out for a walk, or, you know, just doing something enjoyable rather than a chore or something stressful. Whereas that doer triangle, they would see it more as, you know, taking a day off to them is unheard of, because they can't fathom how you have a day off without doing work. Horses aren't like that. A day off is still doing something to a horse. To you as a horse person, even if you have a day off from work and doing stuff in that respect, you still will find things to entertain yourself. You will go out and you will take a lovely stroll, or go on an adventure, or, you know, spend the day exploring. To a doer person, that's a wasted day. You're not a doer person, but you do like things to do. That tiger is trying to protect you from that. It's trying to protect you from being stagnant and not having anything to do. It's also that emotional pressure as well, I think. It's that self-confidence. If you're not doing things, like I said, you feel useless rather than useful. That's going to knock back your confidence. That's going to give you a self-esteem issue. Maybe not an issue, that's probably the wrong word. It's going to give you this impression that you're not needed, and that may not necessarily be what it is. You know, you are needed. It's just you have to wait for everybody else to catch up first. Catalyst is coming. The goat, a very good card for horse people. That is on your soulmate line. Everybody's got a soulmate line, so we're looking at things that are happening for you right now. So we're slowing down to move forward. That's why you're so emotionally involved in this. This is why it's something that's frustrating you more, because you're on the right path. You know you're on the right path. You can see the way that you need to go. You've mapped it out. You want to get on with it, but you can't, because you're still waiting for everybody else to pack their bags or put on their shoes, or, you know, sort everything else out. While you're at the door ready to leave, they're still packing their bags upstairs, which can be very, very frustrating for you. But change is going to start happening as we start moving forward. That change is going to push you. You're not fixed here. You're going to be pushed out of this, and that sheep is good for you. It is good for you. It's going to come very abruptly, and this is the thing I try to get across to people, is that sometimes a catalyst or a change is very destructive. It can create a huge, massive explosion, which nobody really wants. And you may think, why is this happening? This is actually bad. This is horrible. This is awful. It hurts. It's painful. It's not making any sense. But through the smoke and through the rubble and through all of that, you will then start to figure it out, and you will then start to be able to piece together all those pieces and build something better from it. And that's what this catalyst is. It may be something big, it may be something painful, it may be an explosion of emotion and destruction, chaos and calamity. But you're a horse person, so you'll be able to instinctively avoid the worst of it. You'll be able to get ahead of it. You'll be able to prepare for it, and then you will be able to adapt to it. Horses are very adaptable in some respects, in a lot of respects. As long as they are moving, they'll adapt to the terrain. Rock, sand, grass, gravel, roads, doesn't matter. You know, they're going to keep going forward. If you think of a horse as an animal in everyday life, that horse will walk and walk and walk and walk and keep going. You could take that horse and you could ride that horse and you could use that horse to transport yourself. And they have been used that way for, you know, since their domestication. And they've been used in many different circumstances, in many different ways, because they will adapt, and they can adapt, from farms to wars to transportation, you know, even racing and dressage and show jumping, all of this. The horse will adapt and can be adaptable. And that's your superpower here. Your superpower is to adapt to what is about to happen, because it is going to happen. So get ready for that. You're not useless, because your time of being useful is about to come. So prepare yourself for that. And we'll find out how you get on with that next time when we come back and do that general reading for you guys next time. However, we're not done yet. We're going to move those up and we're going to bring these 3 in. Now, these 3 represent your relationship, your romantic side of things, that kind of emotional attachments we have with others, with people, whether it be a marriage or a relationship or a crush, or someone that we're dating. There'll be some sort of aspect of love there, even love for ourselves, even that love that we have unconditionally and platonically. It's all one of the same. It's all felt one of the same. So we've got these 3 negatives. Black isn't always an attack, which is, again, something I'm going to bring over to all of these separate readings, that black is not an attack here. Again, as always, negative cards like these, they just mean things could be better. They could be better. They could be better. Things aren't as great as they could be, and that's why we've got that negative shadow over us. But it's the same with the whites. Things could be worse. Things could be worse. No matter how bad things are, no matter how good things are, it could go always could go either way. So let's find out what's going on with the heart here, shall we? So you're a bit pissed off at something or someone. That dragon there is a conflict card, or it represents some sort of conflict, a battle, an uphill struggle. It's something that is really starting to get on your tits, and it's something that's really not necessarily your fault. And that's why you're so adamant that you need to be on the attack about this. It's not that you hold animosity, it's just you stand in your ground. You stand in your ground. That dragon is one of your allies here. It's not necessarily a bad card for horse people. It's actually quite a good card. Dragons and horses, that combination is speed and power. I've said that before. But unfortunately, we've got this horse here and generally just not moving forward. And now we've got this heart card, this doer, not doing. So with a dragon not doing, who is a doer, there's nothing being worked on. So nothing's going to change. There will be no change. Communication just seems to be something that you're not interested in, whether that be talking to new people or sorting out the issue that you may have already at home, because this works in both ways. If you're single, you're fine with being single and you're not looking to correct that. And if you're in a relationship, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So you're just getting on and just moving on through things without actually thinking about how the consequences of that could shape what happens in the future. Yes, it can make you impatient. Yes, it can make you restless. Yes, you can find yourself getting comfortable and adapting to that situation, but then that's what you're doing, is you're just getting comfortable. You're settling into that role. You're settling into that position. You're allowing it to be that way, which isn't necessarily something that's it's not something that's gonna make things better for you. In fact, I think realistically what you're doing is you're going to end up stagnating yourself by not communicating, by not stepping out of your comfort zone, by not trying to mix it up a bit. I think if you mix it up a little bit, or you try to, you could actually have a bit more success. Maybe not with the whole wanting to be single thing, but it could validate the fact that you are single and you're happy to be single. You could validate that and make it more affirming, or it could go the other way where you were wrong. But without stepping out of your comfort zone, without moving from this spot and staying where you are on, if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality, you are going to find yourself just here, literally in this negative place. Like I say, a dragon not doing anything is literally that. Nothing is happening. There's nothing moving forward. We do have frustration. We may even have like this kind of naivety or ignorance to it, where even if somebody were to present something to you and say, oh, this isn't necessarily going well, is it? You're going to defend it and say, well, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it from where I am. There's nothing wrong with it here. I'm fine, thank you very much. But again, it all depends on the circumstances or the situation that you're in with the person that you're in and how you are with them. The horse isn't moving forward here generally. I don't think that's got anything to do with a relationship, but because you're not moving forward, trying to move forward in a different direction, i.e. in a relationship, that just seems bizarre. Why would you do that? Until you're moving forward in a general sense, why would you be looking at moving forward in a relationship sense? Got the snake coming in there, which is an interesting one because that's not the greatest card for a horse person, but at the same time we've got that karmic energy from the dragon and the snake now, both karmic cards coming in. Maybe there's some lessons to learn here. Maybe there's some lessons here, something for you to take from this, which would kind of make sense considering we're on a soul path generally where things are starting to push you in the direction of which you need to be in. It's putting you in that position. So karmically, you might have some lessons to learn. You might have some justice or be served some justice on both ends of the scale. More so than that, we're looking at suspicion. We're looking at some sort of emotional blockage where you're not trusting something, whether that's the trust of another person or you don't trust yourself. There's definitely trust issues here. Again, it's going to validate your own experiences if you can justify your behavior with something like, it's because I don't trust them, or because I don't believe them, or because I'm suspicious of this or suspicious of that. Our experiences mold our relationships. So if we've had experiences before where, say, you were cheated on and somebody was unfaithful, when somebody you've now met and been with for a while starts to exhibit the same behaviors or patterns, and they could be completely innocent, you could start questioning what's going on here. You could start questioning to yourself, is it happening again? Am I going to be fooled into this again and end up getting hurt again? This could force you to be introverted, which isn't you. As a horse person, you're not an introverted person. So is it forcing you to be introverted? Is it stopping you from moving forward here? Like I said, there's an emotional blockage. It's very emotional, these cards. Very, very sort of a melting pot of emotion with anger and compassion and some sort of strong belief. And I think that belief system could be based around past experiences. I think it could be why we're not moving forward. You're very sensitive to it. You're very sensitive to what's happening right now, and there's things bubbling on the surface, and that's where your feelings are always anyway. You have your heart on your sleeve. You've got these feelings bubbling on the surface. They're always there, and I think you're trying your best to conceal that because you don't want to come across as vulnerable. You don't want to set yourself up. But as I've said before, if you don't step out of your comfort zone, nothing will ever change. The moving forward starts with the first step. That's something that you need to grasp, something that you need to do. You need to take that first step. You need to go forward. Of course, if there is that karmic energy there, it's going to be very difficult to do that without getting some kind of backlash, but we work through it. Something goes wrong, you keep on going. Something happens, you keep on keeping on. You drop this, you forget to order that, you get the wrong size this, do you know what I mean? These things happen again and again, and you start to think, oh, why is this always happening to me? But the reality of it is you will be tested again and again and again. And as you start moving forward, relationships are no different. There will be tests and things to overcome. And once you figure it out, you will move forward from that. And if you don't, you'll go all the way back around until you get back to this and take the test in a different way. We've got the rooster coming in there then, the judgmental rooster. And now, don't get me wrong, horses and roosters, they can have an amicable relationship. They can work together if they so choose to, and they communicate and they, communicate and, cooperate. As long as they cooperate and communicate, things could be okay and amicable. There's no real issue here. But what we are seeing is this negative rooster where you're worried about the cost of things here. And I'm not talking financially. I'm talking more like the cost of your own respect, the cost of your own kind of integrity, the cost of your own emotions. What does this cost you in the long run? Is this relationship you're in okay to the point where you'll survive the current circumstances or the current situation? Will you be able to survive through this? Because you've got this mentality of if it's not broke, don't fix it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's all going to be okay. A vehicle might not seem broken, so you're not going to go to the garage to get it fixed. But then all of a sudden, the exhaust falls off just spontaneously. These things happen. You may think everything's okay and everything's all right on the surface because you live on the surface. Your feelings are bubbling there away on the surface pretty much for all to see. But underneath, there are other things underlined which you need to obviously be aware of and you need to concentrate on and you need to figure out. And I think, again, it's that past experience of things that is holding you back when this is a whole new experience that you need to overcome. This is a new experience that you need to endure to get that experience from the experience. But we'll find out, won't we, when we come back and do another reading like that next time for you guys born in the year of the horse. And lastly, we'll bring these three forward, which is your career, money, finances, which is looking quite positive. It's not looking as bleak with all those positives, but as I've said before, white isn't always all right. We've got the white dragon coming in. See, now that is a good sign. Work-wise, dragons are associated with doers and doing, which is great, getting things done. And I think if we've got blockages emotionally, then physically being able to do stuff and get stuff done is something that's going to help you a lot more and move forward a lot more. You might be focusing a lot more on work, which then would make sense of the general reading where you're just trying to figure things out and find things to do to keep you busy. And work would be one of those things. You dive straight into that and get as many hours as you can. You try to do overtime. You try to keep yourself busy. Maybe there's a big job you're trying to get finished. Maybe you're trying to, take control of a situation, and because of that it's given you more responsibility, or it's opened up more doors for you, and that opportunities have allowed you to then make a bit more money or financially put you in a better position. As I say, the dragon coming out there is power and speed. In the romantic aspect of things, it's not moving, it's not going anywhere, but with the dragon there in the white, career wise, we're looking at a good evolution financially. We're looking at growth. We're looking at you putting in the hard work and getting the reward back. We're looking at you trying hard and adapting to what you need to be doing and being recognized for it. This is a good start. As I say, the dragon and the horse are a great combination. And I think as you start moving forward, you're going to be able to change direction at will as needed. And that adaptability, again, coming back to adaptability, when you adapt, you are seen as competent, you're seen as able, you're seen as useful, you're seen as an asset. And in work, it would seem that that's exactly what is happening. Catalyst is coming though. We've got that white rabbit coming into play, which means there is some change, but it's going to be a soft change. The rabbit might not always appreciate the horse in some ways. They're not great when it comes to compatibility, but what we are looking at is diplomacy. We're looking at negotiation and compromise. We're looking at that adapting again, moving forward. The change that's coming in here is going to come in quick, and only your horsey quickness is going to be able to adapt to that. Not necessarily just horses. There are other signs that can adapt very quickly, dragons being one of them, There are other signs that can adapt to change a lot quicker and a lot better than other signs. So the dragon can keep up with those changes. That rabbit is the one instigating the changes. You'll be able to move forward with this as things start picking up pace and the job gets bigger or there's more workload. That dragon energy that you've got here, although hindering you moving forward romantically, it will excel you in that career path or in that job pursuit. And again, this will just validate you even more. I do feel that this could actually open up more opportunities for those that are currently maybe unemployed. And if you don't actually have a job, I think maybe what you're going to be looking at more so now is getting jobs done that you need to get done. And that change itself of you sitting around going, oh, what do I do? What can I do? Oh, actually, I'm going to redecorate the house, or I'm going to do some gardening, or I'm going to go and do these chores. That's going to open up an opportunity where potentially financial gain could come in, and it could be very, very small. You know, your neighbour might just say, oh, you're cutting your grass, are you? Would you mind cutting my grass, and I'll give you 20 quid. All right, 20 quid, it's not a lot. I'm not saying you're going to win the lottery here. When we say financial growth, we're not talking about big bucks. What we are talking about is, you know, literally the little things like this. You might go up into the loft to find an old pair of trousers. You're sorting through the loft, there's some old clothes, there's some trousers in the pockets, an old wallet. You get yourself 30 quid. And maybe a free coffee with a fill-up loyalty card. You know, it's little things like this, that it's these little wins that we need to concentrate on. And it's these little wins that make up every single day, and obviously the lives that we lead. So don't expect massive amounts of cash flow here, but we are seeing a nice financial boom, if you like, or something positive in the way of money. There's another doer coming in there. This is great. I mean, okay, not as good as any of the other cards. In fact, the white rat is obviously your conflict card. There is conflict there, but we're looking at it in the white, which means we're not up against the black rat. That would have been a real shame. Obviously, we knew it was white before we turned it over. The main issue with the rat and the horse is how they approach things. Rats become very obsessive and possessive of the jobs that they are doing. They like to do what they do, very on it. Leave them alone to do it. Horses are very carefree, and you like to do things. You're not a doer. So you don't dedicate everything to doing, but you like to do. So you'll move from job to job. You'll start a project to a project because you have that quick adaptness to be able to adapt. So what we've got here is maybe, again, a bit of conflict where you could find yourself in the same pattern, the same routine. And as you start to do more and more opportunities start happening, and this is, again, the catalyst moment that's going to take you into this, you might quickly realize, and it will be quickly, that you realize that we could have a bit of a full stop moment, or a bit of a realization that you don't want to be doing all these hours in the week of the same thing again and again and again. So although, you know, financially it's helping, it's actually making you feel a little bit more, again, generally in that kind of emotional place where you want to move forward, you want to get out of it, you want to explore more, you know, you want to actually achieve more, you want to get that sense of achievement. And okay, a payday at the end of the month or at the end of the week is lovely. Yes, it's great to get that payday. But is it worth it if every single day all you're doing is the same old thing that's boring you and making you feel useless rather than useful? Something to consider. Definitely something to consider. I think right now, financially, you're going to have a bit of a positive income or a bit of a flow, but then you're going to realize that that comes at its own cost, which is the repetition. And doing things again and again and again and again with little things to adapt to and little things to occupy you and stimulate you. But we'll find out, won't we, when we come back and do another reading for you guys born in the year of the horse. My next reading will be for those born in the year of the sheep. So if you have any friends or loved ones or people you care about that were born in the year of the sheep, their reading will be next. Might be worth just coming on over to check that out, to see what those guys are up to. And if you have got any friends in the year of the horse and that's why you're here, if you're here watching this on behalf of a horse, don't see them overworking as avoidance to your situation or what you're going through. They are just trying to adapt to a slow period where things are agitating them and they're trying to occupy themselves rather than explode and blow all manner of things to pieces. They have the mentality of, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Unfortunately, as time goes by, things are going to start breaking and they're going to have to fix it. And that's what they're focusing on now, is the little bits that are falling off. Well, I'll just do this and I'll just do that and I've got to get this done. And that's what their approach is. So just bear that in mind, and I will see you next time here on the Chinese Zodiac and Horoscopes. Thanks for watching. Love and peace.